Yeah, hi, good morning guys. Mike here, CEO of Global Investments in the UK. As it's the end of the year, I thought I'd just give you my thoughts on the last 12 months and also what we've got in store for 2024. So in 2023, we've had a great year again, even given the current economic climate with interest rates high, inflation the highest it's been in many, many years, which I think it proves one thing. It proves that property is always at the forefront of people's minds when it comes to investing. And I also think, in times like this, when we're talking about potential recessions and, like I said, the interest rates being high, inflation high, I think it brings opportunity, not just to find different markets to sell in, but to find different clients as well. So markets change, whether it's the properties that we're selling or where the clients and the investors are coming from. South America this year has been a big marketplace for us, with a lot of investors coming from South America. So in the US this year, we've done 528 sales, and we've done 26 sales in the UK, which doesn't seem like a lot, but the UK sales have been steady as it's a new product. And as you know, generically we're a US company, but I think with the 25-year rental guarantee, I think we'll build on this in 2024. We'll invest in new marketing, and we'll push the product out into all of the different regions that we haven't done this year. So we've kind of tested the market, but 26 sales is a steady amount of sales for a new product. So the total amount of sales that we've done, if you want to put it in monetary terms, is $39 million worth of sales, which gives an average price in the US of around $72,000. Now, to me, when I was looking at the numbers and looking at the figures and everything, it's interesting because I think if you go back 10 years ago, it's crazy to think that the AVR, the average sales price, would have been something like $15,000 to $20,000, which is just mad to think that it's now our average sale has tripled or even almost quadrupled in price. So I think it's about timing the market. I mean, 72% of our sales this year have been in Ohio, which now include Canton as well, which I think will come strong in 2024. And the rest was split between really Detroit doing very well again and also St. Louis. But I do think timing is everything. And I think as a company, what we try and have to look for is look at when to come into a market, when to come out of a market, and never count on coming back to markets, which is what we've done with Detroit this year. Even though now, obviously the prices are higher, it's more of an established market than what we were selling 10 to 12 years ago. So we've also started selling in Dubai, which I'm sure everybody knows about. It's probably one of the most popular destinations on the planet. I have 2 vacations a year there, and people are investing there for many different reasons. So we have a presence on the ground in Dubai and an office there, which is great as well. So our biggest markets this year, I would think, would have been number 1, definitely South America, the likes of Argentina, Chile, Colombia, very strong. We've done some business in Brazil, Guatemala, strong. Canada, where we've opened an office, Turkey, where we've opened an office. Scandinavia has been a strong market for us this year. Sweden, Finland, places like that. Singapore and Hong Kong, they're always there, always. And it's funny actually, we've had a lot of investors this year coming back from Australia. So Australia was probably our biggest market 10, 11, 12 years ago. And investors not disappeared, but they kind of went away for 4, 5, 6 years. And this year we've seen investors from Australia coming back. So that could be an option where we potentially look at opening an office next year. But like I said, we have opened a few offices, and the reason we've opened these offices is purely down to the fact that the markets have been very strong in the likes of Dubai, Turkey, Canada, Argentina, Chile, Colombia. So we would potentially in 2024 look at opening an office in Singapore and potentially Australia, depending on the volume and the demand for sales, you know. So in 2024, I would expect our sales volume to grow definitely again on 2023 as we expand into new markets like Canton, like Dubai, like the UK, opening new offices, which I think will give investors more confidence, which will help with sales as well. The fact that we have a presence on the ground, and also for the likes of Turkish investors and South American investors, they can speak to somebody in their own language, which I think is really important. And it's always been a difficult situation when you're translating and things like that. So I think that's helped a lot, you know. I think in 2024, my opinion is that Cleveland will still be our strongest market without a doubt. But I think Detroit might take a little bit more of the percentage of sales away from Cleveland. As we've just started working with some of our old suppliers from like 10, 11, 12 years ago, and brought on some new suppliers in Cleveland as well. I think Canton will be big depending on the supply of properties, depending on how many properties we can actually get. But the reason I think it'll be big is purely down to the partnership that we have with a mortgage shop in Miami, which we've built a great relationship with Christine, and she can get, I think, 70 to 80% finance available for both domestic and foreign national investors, which is great. And what that does is it brings the net returns, because of your cash in is very low, it brings the net returns right up, you know. So you're looking at, on a $100,000 property, you're looking at, let's say, anything between 17 to 22, 23% net on the actual money that you put in. So I think Canton will be big, again, depending on how many properties my guy in Canton can get me. So Chase, get your act together and get me some properties. I also think the UK will play a big part with increased sales as we invest more in marketing. And I just think it's in 30 years of selling properties, I think it's probably the most hands-off investment that I've ever seen, with a guaranteed return for 25 years, no vacancy, no maintenance, and zero running costs, you know. But coming into 2024, I have to say, like, if you'd asked me 12 years ago, would we still be here? I don't think I would have believed you, because we've been through, you know, we're very proud. We've been through some really tough times, coming through the few years of COVID, staying strong, now coming through this last year, the last couple of years, and coming into 2024 with the increased interest rates and inflation. It's been tough, you know. But, you know, it shows the strength of our company, and we've also always stuck behind our staff and our customers and our future customers as well. So we're still here after 12 years, which I'm very proud about. But, you know, I think property anywhere in the world can be a great investment, but it's not about, you know, where you're buying. It's about timing, like I said earlier on. It's about getting in and out at the right time, which is what we really look for as a company, and also not paying over the market value. So make sure that you're paying the right price for the property. Do your research on the company you're buying from. Make sure you're not paying $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 over the market value, and don't just buy a house because it's got a 10 or 11 or 12% return. You know, look into what you're paying. Look at the comparable sales in the area. You know, look at the last 6 months, the last 12 months, what properties have sold for in that area, and don't pay more than the market value, because people don't just buy property for cash flow, they buy it for capital appreciation as well. But if you're paying $30,000 or $40,000 over the market value, you're not going to see any appreciation, because your house is going to be worth the same in 10 years if you paid $40,000 or $50,000 more for it. So, you know, I think property can be a complex thing, and there has to be a trust aspect involved in terms of you trusting us, in terms of our knowledge of the markets. I know Cleveland, Detroit, St. Louis, and of course the UK a little bit more now, even though I'm living in the UK now. But it's about trusting the company you're buying from. But history tells us one thing. If we could all go back in a time machine, let's say we could all go back 20 years in a time machine, wouldn't that be a wonderful thing? We'd be 20 years younger for a start. But we would all do one thing. We would buy as much property as you can, because we know that history tells us over time the price of property goes up. It can go down one year, up the next year, but the likelihood is if you buy a property wherever in the world, whether it's Miami, Newcastle, Manchester, Guatemala, it doesn't matter. The likelihood is in 10 years' time, it will be worth more than what it is today. So that's the one thing history tells us. So I really believe you can never lose money on a property. You can only sell it at the wrong time. So anyway, that's kind of my thoughts on 23 and 24. I'd like to wish all of our partners, staff, investors, future investors, a wonderful 2024 with much health, success and happiness. And we're going to stay strong. We're going to have a great 2024, I'm sure. Big plans, excited. I'm going to get back to them right now and spend a couple of days planning January, getting our marketing right, our stock right, making sure we've got some good properties to sell in January. So I'll see you all in 2024.